Hey everyone, Chris here from Real Rideshare Stories. If you're new to the channel and you're looking for different things within the rideshare industry, whether it's news, tips and tricks for passengers and drivers, or what actually happens on real rideshare rides, start now by hitting that subscribe button and ring the bell for notifications. Also make sure to check the description below for other helpful information and tips. So if you are a Uber driver and an UberEATS driver and you woke up and checked your email this morning, you saw an email from Uber titled "Read My Letter to the President." And then if you opened up that letter, it was a letter that was addressed to all of its drivers, whether they're Uber drivers or UberEATS, but it was addressed to all of them, and it was from Dara, the CEO. So he goes in that email and talks about a couple of different things that is going on within the world, as well as some of the steps that Uber is taking, and also that he had written an open letter to the President of the United States and also key members of the legislature. So right here is the letter that Dara had sent to the president as well as those key legislators. It is a 3-page letter. If you would like to read it in full, link will be in the description. You can check that out. I'm not going to read this entire thing. There's a lot of information in it. And it talks about not only what's going on today, but also their hope for going forward beyond this whole issue of the virus and everything that's going on and entailing with that. So there are a couple of quick things that I do want to pull from this letter, just real quick, at least things that I thought were important and good takeaways, but I want to know what your thoughts are. So comment below on what you think after reading this letter, as well as what things Uber can do in order to make it better for its drivers or create that safety net that they're talking about in this letter. So right here at the beginning, it says, "As the CEO of Uber, I am accountable to many, but I believe my greatest responsibility in the face of unprecedented economic challenge is to the millions of people who drive and deliver on Uber's platform. It is with that responsibility in mind that I respectfully and urgently request that the economic stimulus you are considering, along with any other future legislative measures in response to this virus, includes protections and benefits for independent workers, not just employees. My goal in writing to you is not to ask for a bailout for Uber, but rather for support for the independent workers on the platform, and once we move past this immediate crisis, the opportunity to legally provide them with a real safety net going forward." So right there, it starts off pretty good in terms of they're not asking for money from the government. They're asking for help for its workforce, for its drivers and delivery drivers to help offset and to be included in its protections of going forward, not just employees, but including all people. So it's not even just including Uber, but it's including everybody. So that would include Lyft, Postmates, DoorDash, gig workers around the board, as well as other independent contractors like truckers and freelance workers, and a lot of different people who are independent contractors who do not get the same benefits or same protections as employees do. So it goes on where he says it is already deep. It's already created deep concern for the hardship for many of the 1.3 million Americans working on Uber's platform. Drivers and delivery people are on the front lines of keeping the communities running, helping get food, staying home, providing essential transportation services to those who must move around. And that is true. They've been doing that. That's why Uber and Lyft are still considered essential services, because they are transporting people who are essential as well too. And then it says that's why Uber led our industry in offering up to 14 days of financial assistance to active drivers and delivery people who are diagnosed with the virus or placed in individual quarantine by public health authority due to the risk of transmitting said disease. Now that is very true as well too. Uber was the first to offer protections, and then Lyft followed about a day or so later, and a few other companies have also set up something in order to help provide sick pay for those who may have gotten the virus or who are in mandated quarantine because of the possible transmission of it. So they are doing a couple of things, but when it comes down to it and the bulk of it, there are a lot of open ends and not really that safety net that he's talking about. So yes, there is something that does need to be put in place. Now, this right here, I think, is key. And the beautiful thing about this is it's written. And not only is it written to all drivers who receive this email, but it's also written to the president and key legislators. So that means that maybe he's actually looking at doing something positive for the drivers and helping out drivers there. And so it says, we know we need to do more. We firmly believe that the protections and benefits afforded independent workers who today represent a large and growing portion of the workforce must be strengthened. And it's true. All workers in the gig economy weren't around a few years ago. Everybody who's now a gig economy worker has happened in the last few years. And as it was said earlier in this letter, it's 1.3 million Americans use Uber or UberEATS as a means to create some sort of income, whether it's part-time, whether it's some extra money, or whether it's full-time. They are still using it. So that's 1.3 million people and also growing. And it's also not including every other gig economy out there as well, including Lyft and DoorDash and Instacart and Postmates and all of those. So that is good. Hopefully they do have something in plan, at least in terms of creating some sort of safety net or something going forward, because those are the people that are unfortunately going to help work creating those laws with the other key legislators. Now, hopefully they will resort to talking to people in the gig economy on how they can create better laws to strengthen the independent contracting side of things and creating safety nets or creating protections or anything along that nature. Hopefully they will get some sort of input from drivers or from delivery people or from couriers or whoever it is that's in the economy and working as an independent contractor, which would also include truckers or would also include hairstylists or would include a whole plethora of other people who you may not realize are independent contractors. And then lastly, the last paragraph he wrote in this I thought was pretty good, and at least it talks about going forward into the future. So it says, even when the worst of this crisis is behind us, our nation and the entire world will undoubtedly have changed. Our economy will not look the same, and if we can't restore it, we must remake it. And that's true. This whole economy has been just upheaved and shattered for a lot of different people, and just overall. People can't go to work, people can't make money, things are on hold. It's crazy out there right now. So yeah, if we can't restore it, we must remake it. Business leaders like myself must rise to meet that challenge, using technology to bring economic opportunity to as many Americans as possible, while helping to resolve longstanding structural problems that have left so many people without a real safety net. Uber is ready and committed to doing our part to help foster and protect work of millions of our fellow citizens. I'm counting on your leadership to help realize that promise. The world has changed. Let's change with it. So if you want to read that letter to the president and key legislators, then I will leave a link in the description below so you can read the thing in its entirety. And also, after you do read it, comment below, let me know what your thoughts are. What are your thoughts on this whole thing in general, meaning the letter? What are your thoughts moving forward? And then what would you like to see in order to help protect independent workers and independent contractors going forward, either creating a new classification or whatever it might be? Comment below and let me know. The key legislators that this letter was addressed to as well was Nancy Pelosi, the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Stephen Mnuchin, Secretary of the Treasury, however you say his name, Eugene Scalia, Secretary of Labor, Mitch McConnell, Senate Majority Leader, Chuck Schumer, Senate Democratic Leader, and Kevin McCarthy, House Republican Leader. Those were the few people that this letter was also addressed to, and hopefully there will be some sort of change coming forward. Now, yes, as more and more and more people continue to look at the gig economy for either making some extra money, some part-time money, or relying more or solely on that type of income, then it is exposing the truth behind it. And that is that, yeah, independent contracting work has a lot of holes in it. And as these companies try to tighten and pay its workforce less and less and less, that just exposes these people to more and more of this economic burden that people are facing in today's arena. So hopefully this is not only just a wake-up call to the legislators, but also to these platforms themselves. You know, it would be nice to see something like pay rates raise for its drivers to be able to provide benefits for themselves if they have to, or whatever else it might be. But yes, there is a lot of work ahead, and hopefully it will be done where it's going to benefit drivers and delivery workers, couriers, whoever is in the economy, being an independent contractor versus the company itself. Now that's the end of the video. Hopefully something does come from this. Either way, it is written, so his word is there, and it was addressed to all drivers, all delivery drivers, the president, and those key legislators. So it is written. Now we have to hold him accountable for this, not only for today, but also going forward into the future on what things and changes can happen. So make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring the bell for notifications so you'll be notified every time a new video is uploaded, as well as anytime I go live, so you can hang out, participate in the live chat. We can hang out, bounce ideas off of each other, and have a good time. Also, make sure to check the description below for other helpful information and tips. And as always, never drink and drive, always tip your drivers, and we'll see you next time.